on here. I will be doing some editing. Okay. All right, Patricia. Where were you when you first got in trouble with your house? What had happened?
Well, unfortunately, I was in a very bad auto accident. I'm lucky to be here. But it's been a long process of getting better, the rehabilitation, the bills, the doctor. I didn't know, and I couldn't work. So I decided to go to the one thing, which was equity in my house, and I did a loan, which was not a good loan, but it was the only loan I could get. And unfortunately, that led me to the situation, and the short-term loan was coming due right as this whole crisis was happening with the real estate market crashing.
Mm-hmm.
I tried a loan modification. There was a company, and I actually paid them. They did the paperwork, and they knew the government guidelines, but apparently the government kept changing the guidelines. And for some reason, that loan would not go through. I tried for a whole year. And actually what happened was one bank, I thought it was going to go through. I was with one bank, and they transferred. They kept saying, well, keep making the payments, keep making the payments. And then they transferred my whole account to another bank. And then I was starting over the whole process again. And at this point, I was very, very frustrated. I put a whole year and money into trying to get this loan modification, and I kept hearing about it on the news and all these government programs that are supposed to help you, but it didn't seem to be working. So one day I was driving home, and I saw a sign, and it said, loan mod not working. And I went, well, that's the case. My loan mod is not working. And I've tried now for over a year, so what's it going to hurt? I'm going to give this guy a call, or this person a call. I didn't know who it was. I never heard of it. And I called the number, and Dave answered. Dave was very nice, very considerate, very caring. And he said, well, look, why don't you let me call the bank for you, and let's see what's going on. So he did. He called my lender, the lender it was with now, and they said, well, they were missing some paperwork. And I said, well, no, I sent that in. And it's just kind of a continuous thing with all this paperwork, and nobody seems to know where this paperwork is or that paperwork is. So anyway, he was very helpful. He said, well, let's give it a little time. So let's make sure that they get all the paperwork before we proceed with anything else. So I did. Another month or two went by. I gathered up more paperwork. I kept sending in paperwork and called the bank, and still nothing had happened with the loan modification. So at this point, I sat down and I kind of took a realistic picture in my mind, talked to several people in real estate, what's going on with the real estate, and it doesn't appear that real estate is coming back. So is it really worth it for me to sit here in this house and keep making these payments, which mostly was a lot of interest? And I sat down to myself and said, you know, this doesn't really work out. It's really not to my advantage to keep doing this. I'd already made all these payments for a year and a half now, and nothing was happening. So what would be my next course of action? And I sat down and talked with Dave. My next course of action would be to do a short sale. And the bank had sent me paperwork on that. So at this point, I talked to Dave. He sent me testimonial from some of the people he had worked with, because I didn't know Dave from anybody. It was a sign on the wall. Maybe that was just a sign from God. I don't know. But anyway, since I met Dave, I gave him all the information. I gave him the paperwork. I gave him the whole mess. And I said, okay, I just want out. Get this over with. I'm done. And he did it. And I'm done. And I'm free. That's it.
Okay, great. Pat, how are things going now? What are you doing with your life?
Well, fortunately, I'm feeling better. A lot of the stress is gone. I mean, there was so much stress in that whole situation. And, on top of still recovering from the physical injuries from the original accident that kind of caused the whole thing, I think my life is very good. Um, I'm not sure if I'm going to get into owning another home again, but I'm staying with a friend. I'm back working. My dancing is going very well. I have several new private clients now, and I'm much happier with the situation that I'm in.
Okay, great. Pat, what would you say to other people who are going through the same situation as you?
Well, unfortunately, I can't have a definite answer for everybody. I mean, I would hope there would be some kind of loan modification thing that was happening, but to be honest with you, I haven't heard of anybody personally that it's happened to. It seems like a great idea, and I would say try it. I would try anything that you could to save your house, and then if it doesn't work, they would be a great person to call to just kind of get out of the whole situation. Once you decide that financially it's not that beneficial for you, I think probably the best thing is to do the short sale and just kind of get out from under all the stress and the paperwork and all the debt. But that's a personal decision everybody has to make for themselves.
Okay.